Yeah, hello everybody, it's FC. Don't know if y'all even still remember me, but still here, I guess. But we're going to be talking about Tears of the Kingdom. Why? Because I feel like it, and I just have just because. Now, what we're going to talk about is probably nothing spoilerish. At least that's the whole reason I'm making this, to basically put out my predictions before, or my thoughts and theories before the game actually comes out, which at the time of recording this is the 7th of May, so, pretty close. Couple more days. Actually, it's Sunday, so literally 4 days or something like that. 5 days, 4 days, whatever. Can't count. But, I'm just going to talk about this. Haven't really seen any spoilers. I mean, I have seen a couple, but, nothing too big. So, I'm just going to talk about my thoughts and what the game might proceed, or have. I don't know why I said proceed, whatever. Alright. How do we start this off? Because I wrote these all after watching the trailer. And, let's see. Okay, we'll start with this one. Where the hell is Yunobu? Where is Yunobu and where's Teba? Because if you didn't see, there are 3 champions we see. Riju, Teba's kid, I don't remember his name, and then Sidon, which, makes sense. But we also don't see Yunobu, but we see someone wielding the boulder crusher, the Daruk's weapon. So there is a champion for that. So that's a little weird. I'm guessing Teba might be dead or just really hurt after everything that happened, and he just gave, and maybe his son takes over. Maybe Teba doesn't want his son to take over, something like that. But Yunobu is a bit strange because, technically all of the champions, no, not actually, not even, we don't even know, because they're called descendants, but they're not most of them are not genetically related. Yunobu is, because he's Daruk's grandfather, and then what's it called? Teba and his kid, they're not related to Rivali at all, I'm pretty sure. Also, is it me, or is it kind of interesting the fact that Hyrule Warriors, yes, I know it's not canon, but whatever, Hyrule Warriors had a little side in that mission in the DLC, and then Teba's kid also time traveled back for some reason, but then he also did like Rivali's Gale, kind of, but he was in the past. So if because I know the game isn't technically isn't canon, but at the same time it can be, like, most of the stuff that happens in Hyrule Warriors doesn't have to affect Tears of the Kingdom, and it can just be the 4 champions that went back say, oh yeah, I remember this like dream, or I remember this thing that happened, blah blah blah. That's like a little nod. That's all that needs to be. That's all that needs to happen. Maybe Zelda's like, oh yeah, I remember I had like a toy egg when I was a kid, or something like that. Either way, I just found that interesting that Teba's kid was kind of teased, I guess, to be the next champion. So maybe they already had an idea of the game all the way back then. But anyway, where is he? I don't think you can really replace him, because he is a direct descendant, like one of the few direct descendants, like bloodline wise. Because Riju, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Maybe she is, but it's not confirmed. Sidon is Mifa's brother, obviously. But yeah. And speaking of that, these tiers, the 7 tiers. So as of right now, we've seen a couple. We've seen Riju's, I'm gonna just call Amber one. Sidon's the blue. Teba's kid, the green. Then Zelda's, and the ancient Zelda, I'm gonna call her. Those are yellow, and then Ganon's, which is red, but not really at the same time, because there's that image where it's just clear. so that's a little confusing. But also the Zelda's tier and Ancient Zelda's tier, I'm assuming is the same one, because I'm assuming Zelda has been sent back in time, and she just has the Ancient Zelda's tier with her when she gets sent back in time. Maybe that's what sends her back in time. I don't know. Maybe I can't tell. But that means we have 3 of the Champions tiers, Zelda's, and then Ganon's. That's 5 right there. Where are the remaining 2? Because there was another theory that when we saw Ganon's tier for the first time, that, oh yeah, he's just, Ganon is just, what's it called? He has Yunobo's tier, like he stole it because it's red and whatever. But now looking at it, when it's not like, I guess, fueled with malice, it's clear, so who knows. So I'm gonna just say Yunobo does have a tier, so it's 6 in total. But then there's the 7th tier, and that's a little confusing. Who does that belong to? What race does that belong to? Because it's the 4 champions, which are Dorito, Gerudo, Gorons, and Zoro. That's 4. And then Ganondorf has one, which also, I guess I don't see why there would be a specific tier made for Ganondorf, unless he like stole it from the ancient. No, actually that wouldn't make sense. I was gonna say unless he stole it from the ancient Gerudos, but if Riju has the Gerudo one, then that means Ganon has his own, or someone made it, or something else. I don't know, but yeah, the 4 champions. Then Ganon has one for some reason that's just clear. Then Zelda, and then there's the last one, which is like, who does that go to? Maybe Link, but at the same time, that doesn't make much sense since it's another Hylian, and most of the things are related to elements. So maybe it's a Korok, and that's gonna be for Link. But Teba's kid already has a green one, so that wouldn't make much sense unless they just slightly color it differently. I don't know, but it's either that or Sheikah. That might make sense. The Sheikas in Ocarina of Time did have their own medallions, so who knows? But that's a little weird. Let's see. Oh yeah, speaking of Sheikah, what happened to the Guardians and the shrines? Because we don't see any, and we see those new shrines. I guess I'm doing that in air quotes. We don't really know, but what happened to the old shrines? And the Guardians. Like, I understand if people wouldn't want the Guardians around because of what happened and the fact that they destroyed the world, kind of, and were running a rampage. But I don't see why anyone would have a problem with the what's it called? With the shrines. Maybe perhaps Pura and Robbie actually put the Guardians inside the shrines. Like, okay, yeah, it doesn't make sense. How would they actually fit in the little door? But let's just speculate here. If they put them in the shrines and then put the shrines underneath, then I guess that makes sense. It lets them put away the Guardians, but they would know where they are. Unlike last time where they just dug them up or like something like that. Or maybe they even put they might have put them in those 4 pillars, because in the lore, I think it said that the Guardians, mostly in the cutscene, the Guardians come out of that pillar. So maybe they come out of there. Maybe they put them back there. Maybe that's why the pillars are gone now. So yeah, that actually would make sense. And maybe they put some in the shrines. But then, speaking of that, where are the Divine Beast? Because, I mean, those ones are kind of hard to find. Maybe they did the same thing like before, where they just put them on the ground, like in that one cutscene with Naboris. But that seems like a lot of work, and I mean, unless in the game you can see like a spot where they hide them, that wouldn't make a lot of sense. Who knows where they went? Maybe they're in the shrines too. I don't know. Maybe they took them apart, put them in the shrines. Maybe that's why. Maybe after the calamity is gone, the shrines go back into the earth because they're like, oh, we're not needed now. We need to go back, and the Sheikah slate depowers, perhaps, and that's why there's that new Sheikah slate. Maybe Pora made that after seeing the design of the old Sheikah slate. But that would be interesting. Now, let's see. Okay, yeah, that would make sense because I'm like, where do all these things come from? But speaking of that, let's just say this: where do the tears come from? Because I'm assuming Ganon will just have his from the beginning. I'm guessing Zelda will have hers. If she traveled back in time, maybe that's why. I don't know, but yeah, I'm assuming she'll have hers. The champions, I feel like that's what we're going to be after. Maybe, perhaps, maybe that's because I had an idea. Like, what if the reason the divine beasts are gone is because maybe they transformed into these tears. Maybe, perhaps, I'm not sure, but because I mean, I'm pretty sure all of the divine beasts are named after a sage. And then I'm assuming the new characters, the new champions, are becoming the sages. So maybe, perhaps, it's just a sage. They get it from the divine beast, or maybe because I'm pretty sure there are spots in the game where they're named after sages or something like similar to that. Maybe in Zora is like in those walls that are in the side, and maybe one of them side there. The Gerudo's a little tougher. Maybe it's just in the desert. And then the Rito, that one's hard too. So I wouldn't know how to. I don't have really a speculation on that. But I mean, yeah. And then there's the elusive seventh one, which I don't know. That's like maybe the Sheikah have it, or maybe the Sheikah find it. Maybe the Koroks have it, because those are the only other races. Well, the Koroks are a different race, but I don't see anyone from the Koroks becoming a sage unless it's Hestu. But also these sages seem to be able to fight. And yes, Hestu can fight in Age of Calamity, but I don't think he can fight in this new game. Maybe, I don't know. That'd be funny. But who knows? And I don't know if the Sheikah count as a different race. Well, I'm not sure. Maybe, because aren't the Sheikah just Hylians? Like, the Sheikah are just Hylians that don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, whatever. So maybe they have one. Not sure about that. But yeah. Speaking of that, and then let's see. Will we get new abilities from the champions like we did from the old champions, or do they just leave? Also, with the divine beast being gone, does that mean the spirits of the champions are also gone because they controlled the divine beast? So maybe after their job was done, they were set free. Actually, yeah, that makes sense because at the end of the secret ending, I think they just disappear. So yeah, that would make sense. And maybe after that, their abilities are also gone because they're gone from the mortal plane or whatever. They've completed their job. But maybe we get new abilities from the new champions, but that wouldn't make sense. Maybe like whenever you grab a tier from someone, take their tier or borrow it, you get their ability, but that wouldn't. What abilities would you get? Riju, obviously lightning again, because it seems like she's mastered lightning now. Yunobu, if he's even a champion or in the game, or if maybe he's dead, who knows. Obviously his shield again. But then Teba's kid and Sidon are a little tricky. Sidon doesn't have any magical abilities as far as we know. All we know is that he's a good swimmer. So maybe you just get to swim. Maybe you get to swim and go underwater and stuff. That might actually not be the worst idea. Who knows? But then Teba's kid, I'm guessing you might just be able to go up in the air again. That might be the ability, because I think he can do that in that one cutscene from Calamity Ganon. So perhaps that's what's going to happen, but I'm not sure again. Let's see. What's after that? Oh yeah. Where do all these Hylians come from? Because in the trailers there's just a bunch of Hylians, but it's like, where did y'all all come from? Because where did y'all all come from? Because it's a little confusing, since there weren't that many before, and yeah, they could have kids, but it's only been like a couple years, so I don't think those kids grew up that fast. So I think some of these Hylians might have come from a distant land, from the ocean. Maybe that they crossed the chasm from that one mountain. Maybe they came from the desert. Who knows? Because that's a little confusing. Of where exactly did these new Hylians come from? Because I'm pretty sure, out of all the races, or maybe I actually might be wrong about that, but I'm not sure. Out of all the races, out of all the races, they might have been the least there. I'm not sure. Maybe not. Who knows? But yeah, all these new Hylians are a little confusing. Like, it's from exactly where they came from. And speaking of the new Hylians, is the opponent in the game like without an amiibo? Because if that's true, then I think what I would like to happen, or my theory, is that maybe there are no Hylians that come from different lands. They come from different lands since the calamity was taken care of. They come back, and then maybe a descendant of the girl from Long Island Ranch, and technically the Link's descendant, or I don't know, maybe that might be interesting, because Twilight Princess Link is apparently a descendant of Ocarina of Times, and since he's a farmer, it's kind of implied, I guess, that Ocarina of Time got with Marin. So maybe, but who knows? But it would be cool if a descendant of Marin, maybe she looks like her, maybe she doesn't, comes back to Hyrule with her family or whatever, and that's where you get Epona, like Ocarina of Time. You get Epona from Long Island Ranch. Maybe Long Island Ranch has been rebuilt, and then you get Epona from there. It's from a side quest or something. Maybe you get, and maybe also you get an Ocarina from them. It's not the Ocarina of Time. Maybe it is. Maybe it's just passed down. Maybe that's why the Ocarina of Time has never been mentioned ever since. Maybe. Who knows? But it could just be a regular Ocarina. Maybe it can be the fairy Ocarina. That might actually be cool. But you get the Ocarina, and then that's either how you can call Epona. It's like you get a special animation when you call Epona. Like when you press the whistle button, he pulls out the Ocarina. That might be cool. That's just speculation now. Let's see. I think I've gotten to most of these things. What happened? What happened to the Master Cycle? Because from the looks of it, this new Sheikah Slate does not have runes, and the way you access the Master Cycle is by a rune. Maybe they could just uninstall the Master Cycle from the rune and just there, and because I don't want to just be there from the start, and it's just like, oh yeah, just go to Pora, she has it. Like, no, maybe go fix it. Which is impossible now because you have to find Guardian parts. Actually, yeah, that might be cool. Then you have to fix it, and then you get to write it. And then maybe it's just who knows? That one's actually confusing because you can't just take it everywhere. Because then you would just leave it places, and then it's just gone forever. Or maybe it goes off a cliff. It's like, where do you get it afterwards? You can't revive the thing like that. So who knows? And also just be cool for Link to ride in a battle, and then who knows, maybe his bike can do a beam like the rest of the beast, and how it does it in Age of Calamity. That might be cool. Let's see. Okay, the big one, and this might be the last thing. Where is Zelda? Because from the looks of it, when she says, Link, you have to find me, she's in the Great Plateau. Okay, thanks Zelda, but you're just in the Great Plateau. I'm sure he'll come back for that. That'll be one of the first places he checks. But That's a little confusing because why is she saying you have to find me? And how come in some cutscenes she has the Master Sword? And how come Link just doesn't have it? Because at the beginning he has it, but all broken. But also at one point Zelda has that broken Master Sword. So what I think what happens is Zelda gets sent back in time. She gets found by the goat guy. I forget his name. Well, I don't know his name, that's the thing. But I remember these YouTubers they were calling him something I can't remember. But either way, she gets found by that guy. Then afterwards, he's like, okay, we have a plan. And maybe just maybe, she gets trained by the ancient Zelda because she never had anyone train her. So she just kind of she just did it off emotion. So maybe she gets trained by the ancient Zelda, or maybe the ancient Zelda's already dead by then. Maybe Zelda gets flashbacks from having that tear that the ancient Zelda once had, perhaps, because there are cutscenes with the ancient Zelda. So maybe Zelda's with there, or it's a past memory. Who knows? Yeah, that actually might be interesting to see. But then Zelda has the sword and the Master Sword. Maybe she fixes it, because there are scenes. Well, she probably will. Because there are scenes where she has the fixed Master Sword, but it's no longer broken. Maybe she puts it in the. No, that actually wouldn't make sense. No, that wouldn't make sense. I was gonna say, what if she put it in Deku Tree, and then like it gets sent in forward in time, but that wouldn't make sense because that wouldn't work in the timeline. Because yeah, it just wouldn't work. Whatever. So, because Link needs that to actually beat it. So, yeah. Maybe Zelda's sent back in time and then somehow she gets sent back. Which, yeah. And then, what exactly is that new dragon? Because the dragon that's in the sky, maybe there are more dragons, who knows, but these dragons seem to be pretty important. Because, how do I say this? Because, the three dragons we do know, Din, Ferron, and, Nehru? Nehru. These dragons are named after the goddesses. You already know the names, the goddesses. Din, Ferron, and Nehru. Finn, the courage one, or the green one, and Nuran is the blue one, the ice one, and then Din is the fire / red one. And Din was supposed to represent the Triforce of Power, Farah was supposed to represent the Triforce of Courage, and then Nehru was supposed to represent the Triforce of Wisdom. So these dragons are pretty important, but out of nowhere there's just a fourth one. And if these dragons are represented by the gods, there might be a new god. Or perhaps this dragon is represented by Hylia? Maybe? Who knows? That's a little confusing, but who knows? Yeah. Who knows, really, on that last dragon. But then perhaps Demise isn't. I was gonna say maybe Demise has a dragon, but Demise isn't a god, he's just a demon. So that wouldn't make much sense, to be honest with you. But yeah, my theory is Zelda gets sent back in time. Link sends the Master Sword back in time because, actually, yeah, there is that one scene in the trailer where he's holding the broken Master Sword in front of a glowing orb of light. His Triforce is activated. So maybe Zelda's tapping into her time magic because Hylia is the goddess of time. At least I'm pretty sure that's her name. That would make sense. So maybe Link sends it back because there is that scene where, he has the Master Sword, he's holding it in front of a light orb. Maybe Zelda's talking to him and telling him what to do, telling him like his objective, and then he sends it back. Zelda has it, she fixes it, and then somehow gets back to the present, one way or another. So that would make, so yeah, that's the only thing that could happen, but how do you get her back? That's the big question. Yeah. But, okay, but that's all my thoughts for now. All my questions and what I want out of the story. Gameplay wise, I mean, it's just gameplay. I'll just enjoy the gameplay. I don't know. Maybe you can still a shield bomb by putting a bomb, because I'm pretty sure you can fuse a bomb into your shield and then you just like go on surfing and then you just get blasted and just fly. That'd be cool. But yeah, that's all for now. Let me see if anything is, if I missed anything from my list. Seems like no. Yeah, okay, cool. So, excited for Tears of the Kingdom. If you're not, yeah, I don't know what you're doing, bro. Because this game looks fun. This game looks interesting. And it'll probably be one of the greats. One of the few sequels out the game, so it's gonna be awesome. Alright guys, but this has been FC. Thank you for hearing me out if you've stayed this long. I don't got a Patreon, I don't got anything. I'm just here to make my thoughts and just have them to see if my predictions are right later on, but whatever. Anyway, thank you guys for watching and listening basically. And see you next time.